Hi, lovely people. It's me, Jessica. I am watching this video. I just figured it could be cool to just watch it on YouTube as I'm seeing so many stories about Dr. Christina Parks. So I've been taking some time just to try to find some information on this lady, on this doctor. And I found a couple of sources, but there's not a lot of information on Dr. Christina Parks. But I assume, given she is giving testimony for the House of Representatives, that she's been fully vetted, of course. And I did find a few things online. I'm going to share one of them. The first one was basically this. Seems like an older document, but I'm going to share it with you just so you can see. It looks like she had been a part of a staff at a university and she was doing some online or doing some tutoring. So there's a little profile about her there. If I can find it, let me see if this is it. This is always so annoying because I have so many things open, of course, as per usual. Okay, I'll just go to Google search. I don't see it here. So there's tons of news articles. Let me see if I can just share it into the chat because for some reason I can't share it on screen. So I'm going to make this here. So this is the link to the document that I'm trying to share, but Restream won't let me for some reason. So that's the article. It is basically, it says, she was tutoring classes and she has a degree in cellular and molecular biology, and it's from the University of Michigan, and she received that in 1999. So that's what it is. Let me see. Let me try one more time to see if I can't pull this up. It's so annoying that I can't share this with you. Hi, King Akil. Hello, Murad. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while, Murad. How are you been? This is so annoying that it won't let me share this PDF. But hopefully you can just check out the link. But I'll just read it since this is letting me share. So she's saying, hello, my name is Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology from University of Michigan in 1999. During my years in graduate school, I realized I had a passion for education and working with young people. So she's basically talking about how she's moving into teaching. And so it sounds like she's been teaching. So she's taught a variety of biology and chemistry courses at Hesperus High School for 5 years. And she talks about some other things in here. So that's the best thing I could find just generally on Dr. Christina Parks, just from a quick search before I started this video. I was like, well, can I find anything on her? So I'll have to keep doing some digging. Oh, here it is. So this is what I'm looking at. Hopefully you can see, but it's basically this one pager. She was starting to do some tutoring. Seems like a very old picture of her, like back in the day. But yeah, she is saying, she's a PhD in 1999. So this is who we're talking about. Obviously, the lady is a lot older today. And then I do want to show the piece of evidence and sources that she has, and then we'll kind of take a look at the video. So you've been going live a lot, Murad? Okay, I got you. All right, let me share this other piece and then we'll get into the video. So I think this one's it. So there's this full document of the bill that is, of course, I will just say on the side of freedom because I don't want YouTube to slam me for this video. They'll probably take it down anyway, but it's basically outlining everything that she says during her testimony with the sources of everything that she covers. So she mentions the yearly flu jabs, and she notes a lot of sources in here. She also notes during the testimony the Tuskegee experiment, which we've talked about because there's a lot of apprehension within the Black community. And I mean, 1970 wasn't so long, which she actually talks about in this testimony. So, yes, a lot of Black Americans have a lot of trauma when it comes to healthcare. We don't know what people are doing. We don't trust our government as much, and we don't trust the healthcare system. So that is very, very true. And I think there should be a lot more caution around Black Americans, and there should be a lot more sensitivity to us as a group because of the trauma that we have and our ancestors have endured in this country, going as far back as early as 1970. Like, come on, that's not too long ago. There are people that my brother was like, that's his era. Like, come on. I don't know. I just think there's this expectation of Black Americans as a group to just jump on board with things. And look, a lot of things that have happened to us in this country have been, helpful for a lot of other people, but not for us. So there's going to be a lot of apprehension, as it should be. So let's see in here. Hey guys. Oh, I see folks in the chat. Hey, how are you all? So I do want to bring up the video. I just want to watch it along with you all and just, make some commentary basically about it, because I am definitely, I see multiple sides of this whole, scenario. So let me pull up the video, but I just think it's great that you actually do have access to the sources that she's noting during her testimony. So I wanted to bring that up first because I think that's really important, right? It's not just some random person talking and giving personal experiences. She's using her own education as a PhD. So I'm going to move on with the video. Let me just take a pause and look at some comments here. Hey, Brian. Hey, Edward. Hi, my members. King of Kill. Hey, another member. Shout out to you. Hi, Playably. I haven't seen you here. Welcome. Yes, I think she's a very important person right now. King of Kill is talking to some folks. Okay, so let me share the actual video, but I will link the sources that I just pulled up. Let me just make sure I'm sharing this correctly so you can actually hear the audio. As you all know, I'm sometimes not the best with that. All right, so let's pull this up. Okay, hopefully you all can see. Let me know if you can't see it. But this is just one of the video playbacks that I found. This is from David Thienes, and so he captured the video. A lot of people caught the video and shared it on YouTube. So let's see. Let's watch it together.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA gene therapy, vaccines, this kind of technology, as well as what a vaccine is designed to do in the body, what it can do, what it can't do, and the fact that this is extremely complex science that has been oversimplified in the media to basically take away our freedom of choice. What I want to address today in this limited time is the fact that vaccine requirements and mandates are based on the faulty assumption that the vaccines in question prevent transmission of the pathogen, right? Does the vaccine for DTaP prevent transmission? No. Does the vaccine for flu prevent transmission? No. Do the vaccine?
So I'm pausing right there, and I hope you all can hear me, but what she just said is it does not prevent transmission. And that's the thing that has had me really caught up, because what we know about past flu jabs is, look, in my own personal experience, I was never jabbed for the flu, and I never caught the flu. Now, the one time I caught something that was like a flu, I guess, was when I was on a keto diet, and they talk about the keto flu. And so I did catch that, but that was a totally different scenario. You're in a state where you're in ketosis, you're not eating fruit, you're not eating a lot of things you normally would. So otherwise, never. And a lot of the folks around me in the workplace would get the jab every single year and would still end up sick. So I always thought that was interesting, especially fast forwarding to today, where a lot of people are saying you need to get this, but it doesn't. The original thought was that it protects you. And so that I think would have been a different conversation. But now that we know it does not protect you, it just lessens your symptoms, right? That's what it's supposed to do. It's fairly new. We're going to be learning more and more, right? Now, because of the variants they're constantly studying. At least that's what the media is telling us. So I think it's very harsh almost to tell, again, I'm referencing myself as an African American in this country, to tell a group of African Americans who already do not trust the government, the healthcare system, for fair reasons. There have been multiple studies that just say, as a Black woman, if I were to become pregnant, well, you have a likelier chance that you're going to have issues, that the doctor is not going to give you the same pain medication as they will someone else. They're not going to trust you when you say you're in pain as much as they will someone that may be, I don't know, a white woman. They don't trust it because of my Black skin. So even in these different studies that we see today, it doesn't cause us to go, oh yeah, I trust the healthcare system. And now you're pushing a group of people to do something that's very anti everything that we've kind of seen in history and that we're still seeing. So I think it's insensitive. But I like that she starts off with the idea, because a lot of people are saying, oh, it protects you. Well, if it really protected you, you wouldn't be really concerned about someone else getting a jab, right? That's my perspective. Of course, I want this to be more of a conversation. I'm not really on either side of the fence here. I do want to protect my own freedoms, right? And I think we as people should have freedom of choice. But, I trust as much as I can science. So I love that she's bringing the science into this. So let's continue. And Edward is saying, that's correct. It doesn't. King Akil is saying, yes, you've seen this. Brian is saying, I don't know about that are you saying for sure? Maybe? Yes, do hit the like button, but I'm probably going to make this members only after the replay, to be honest with you, because I just think YouTube is probably going to take it down, which, they are trying to protect the messaging around this. So I get it. All right, let's continue. Let's listen to more of what she has to say during her testimony.
Vaccines for COVID prevent transmission. No. In fact, they were never designed to do that. All right, so you're asking, what about this 95% effectiveness? If you look at those clinical trials, they do not say that they prevent transmission. They expressly say that they're measuring whether they attenuate symptoms. So they're 95% effective based on their clinical trials at attenuating symptoms for the first variant, which is essentially gone in our population. Right now, the predominant variant is the Delta, and CDC Director Walensky basically said that these vaccines have no ability to prevent infection by and transmission of the Delta variant.
Okay, so we have the question again, why is there this big push for everyone to get it? And then she's going to continue here and raise some really interesting points. Playably, I totally agree with that. You're saying you don't understand how Black women of all people are lining up for it. The medical industry is what cops are to Black men. I would say, I think there's a lot of peer pressure. And then the other thing is, a lot of Black women in America, at least, a lot of us are in the healthcare field. I am not one of those women, but a lot of us do work in the healthcare field. That could be why. Um, and then two, right now we're at a point where a lot of companies are saying, hey, if you don't do this, your job will be at risk. And I've talked about this a few times. There are a lot of Black women in America where they are the main breadwinner for their family. Lack of a job means that they're not feeding their children. So a lot of different things will come into play. And so I would never, I wouldn't judge anyone for their decision either way. I don't think people should be judged either way unless it's directly harming someone else. Now, I think it's more harmful that we're in a place where a lot of folks that got the jab thought that they were just free to go and free to, interact, not wear masks, not to all these things. And now we're in a place where we're like, oh, wait, no, actually, well, you had these people going around and living their life because they were told certain things that they would be able to get back to normal. And I think we're in a place where people really just don't want to hear the hard truth. Tell us the actual truth. Don't just tell us things to make everyone feel better for a little while, let the economy do a little better for a while, and then we're back in the same place. That's really tough. I can see on either end of the spectrum, whether you got the jab or you didn't, we're all in this together. So we're in this place where now everyone's kind of finger pointing at the other, and you're victimized if you haven't gotten a jab. But what difference does it make? Because we're all in the same, we're really all in the same place because we're dealing with now a variant where we're seeing the stories again, where they're saying now we need boosters. Now we need this. Well, now it's not as effective as we thought. So what's so wrong with someone saying, hey, I need to sit back and watch and see what happens? This is all kind of new. I need to understand this. I need the process. Hey, I have trauma from the past. I need to address what is the big push. So it makes me even more skeptical, right? We had even scenarios where folks were giving away all kinds of free stuff just for you to get it. And it's like, that doesn't make me go, yeah, I want that. It makes me even more skeptical. So it's a really interesting spot that we're in right now. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. Again, I will say this multiple times. I am not a scientist, but this is just my own perspective and the thoughts that I've had about this whole scenario. And again, as a Black woman, I am very torn, right? And it's tough. I'm a single woman, so I don't have to worry about, kids or anything like that being affected. But what we're seeing is saying that, well, you're really not protected. So what's the big push? Anyway, let's continue and listen to more what she says.
So our policy needs not to be built on the hope of what we think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No. They've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood. It's infecting your mucosa, and you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it. In fact, recent studies have shown that the vaccinated, especially with the Delta variant, and the unvaccinated have similar amounts of virus in their nose and throat. In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated. All right, so maybe they are mandating this because they just didn't know with the COVID.
Okay, now that was a surprising point that I heard, because what we saw with the media is that no, it's only the folks that didn't get the jab. They're the only ones, getting this stuff again, going to the hospital, and it's interesting the story that's been played. So again, it just really makes me question things.
COVID. And so my main complaint is with our health agencies and the CDC, who basically know better and are misleading the public. So let's look at DTaP, which the scientists and the CDC have known since 2014 that the acellular pertussis vaccine does not prevent people from getting infected with the pertussis bacteria and passing it to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives, all right? I'm not going to debate that. But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens is fully vaccinated children go to daycare, they pick up that bacteria, and they come home and they give it to their newborn brother or sister. They get deathly ill, and they go to the hospital. Hopefully, our medical professionals are able to save them. But who do they blame? Now the CDC is blaming anti-vaxxers for the limitations of this vaccine design. I suggest
That's another thing that really bothers me, right? This push to blame, and we've heard a couple of politicians blaming those that did not receive the jab. And look, it's like we don't as people ever learn from our history. We see things where we're saying only those that got the jab are able to go to this restaurant, do this. Now even, with jobs. But it's not, again, like it's not we're in a place where people are saying they're not getting the jab so that they can get protection from catching anything. No, you're still likely, you can still catch the thing. You can still catch it. So I think that would be a totally different conversation. Of course, we as people, this is why we were shut in our homes for months, right? We didn't want to hurt other people. It wasn't about necessarily me being when I was shut up, in New York. New York is not a fun place to be stuck inside, but we did it because we wanted to protect other people, right? And with this, there's this kind of blame game scenario that just doesn't make sense. So you're blaming a group of people, but for what? We're not contributing to anything. If anything, the folks that have been living their life as per usual would be the most likeliest one to have been, spreading some stuff around because they just didn't know that they could still spread it, And so it's not really a blame game. Everyone is trying to figure things out and do what's best for themselves and their family. Why is there such a demonization for people that want to be cautious? I don't understand that part. And again, it really gives me pause and makes me think deeper, I guess. And that's why you're kind of seeing more of the conspiracy theories, I think, coming out because look, it's almost like not trusting the people to really get all of the information. No, give us all of the information. Don't just sugarcoat it. Yes, there are some people that just want the happy information, but that doesn't help anyone. We need to actually know really what's going on. And what was told to us is not what's happening. We're now in the fall 2021, and we're still in this position where now we're still dealing with this thing and we have a different variant. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but let's continue listening to Dr. Parks. And Playably is saying somebody is getting rich behind all of this, all about the money. Definitely is an interesting point. They typically say to follow the money when things are happening. And King Akil's comment is 4 out of 5 hospitalized had the jab, right? So it's very interesting. Welcome, Shar. Nice to see you. Okay, let's continue.
that they be transparent and tell parents that although it is preventing severe disease in their children, it is not preventing transmission, because we have created a whole class of asymptomatic pertussis carriers who are increasing the disease. Now, the old DTP vaccine that many of you who are my age or older got did prevent transmission. When we switched to the safer acellular version, they knew that it was never designed to prevent transmission. It was safer, it had less adverse events, but pertussis cases have gone through the roof. There's a resurgence in pertussis because of the design of the vaccine, and the vaccinologists know this. They're trying to address it, and so we cannot mandate that something that does not prevent transmission.
Again, that is the key part here. Does not prevent transmission. So it's not like how the media is portraying, like the folks that don't want to get the jab or just wanting to, continue this and continue spreading this thing around. It doesn't prevent transmission. It's not what we thought. So what's the benefit if I am a relatively healthy person? I'm a healthy person. I have a healthy immune system. I really trust that above the government and science. And I have traumatic experiences from just what my ancestors have been put through in this country, along with everything else. Maybe I'm just educated in a certain way where I want to look at all of the data before I have something injected into my body. I'm also a person that's super careful when I'm eating food. I'm that person that is in the grocery aisle looking at the ingredients saying, what is this? I'm that person that's like buying a skincare product and I'm researching the stuff on my phone. Like, what is this? I don't understand. So yes, that same person that is studying what they're going to put into their body, what they're going to put onto their face, is probably going to be a little more cautious about what you're going to put into their body. They're naturally doing it on an everyday basis, right? Okay, let's continue. And I do see a comment from King Akil is saying, and the jabbed are spreading it the most. Yeah, exactly. Because again, like they were told, get this thing and go live your best life. Live your life as normal. So I'm definitely not blaming any group here, but I think we just need to be really honest. And you have to be careful when you're playing that blame game. You're playing the whole, well, you can't enter this place if you're not. And it is really reminiscent to white versus colored. You can't use this water fountain because you're Black. You have to use this one. It's really, and again, I made the point earlier where I'm like, we don't really look at our history very much, do we? Because that is scarier than anything when people are saying, you can't come to this state and we're in the same country. That was happening at the beginning. There was conversation of, well, you can't come to this state because you guys, and it's a lot of division. And that is the scariest thing of all, in my opinion. And I see Edward's comment, good point, King Akil, definitely. I'm going to leave that one up there. All right, let's keep listening.
All right, what about the flu vaccine? Well, they have shown that basically there's no difference, there's no statistical difference if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, whether you get the flu or not. But it's even worse because although that first year it is somewhat effective, it's about 65% effective at preventing symptoms in you, after that it actually has negative efficacy. And I want to address this because it's very important.
Okay, I have to pause there because you guys remember what I said earlier when I mentioned in my personal experience, those that were jabbed for the flu, on a regular basis, and no fault. I think it's smart if you think that it works for you to do what you need to do as a precaution if you're a doctor and you talk and that's what you decide to do. But I always thought it was very interesting that I wasn't catching it every year, but a lot of the folks in my office that were getting the jab every year were still getting sick in multiple times in the year, and I was healthy, right? So I that was really eye-opening for me because I did not know the science behind it, but I visually could see. And so that's why I never was really inclined to getting jabbed for that. They offered it in my office for free a lot of times. And, it was super convenient, but I was just like, well, I never get it. Why should I? And I'm relatively healthy. I eat healthy, all of this. Why? I think it's a different case when maybe you're older, you have a compromised immune system, or you have all these things. I think that's a totally different story than your average person. So, because it is lessening the symptoms, it's not making it to where you don't spread it to someone else. It's more for yourself as a protection measure. But it's interesting that the first year it helps, but then after that. So I'm really interested to hear more on that. And King Achilles, you like that word. So yeah, let's hear what she has to say further.
Vaccines are made to a specific variant, and when that variant mutates, the vaccine no longer recognizes it. And so it's like you're seeing a completely new virus. And because that's so, you actually get more severe symptoms when you're vaccinated against one variant, and then it mutates, and then your body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults.
Oh, my audio. Can you hear me now? Okay. I was talking and talking. So I wanted to basically just kind of highlight what she had said in that statement that when I was a child, my mom kept me from getting the flu jab as well. And so for me, again, I never had it. And so it's really interesting to hear, well, is it really benefiting you in the long run? Does it benefit you? And then also to hear the talk about the variant. Okay, so it's like your body's starting all over. And it's just like, so what was the benefit of it? So my mom, for religious reasons, did not have me ever get the flu jab. But, obviously the other required ones for school and everything I got. So it's just really interesting to hear her perspective. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, King of Kill. Yeah, I was talking. I said some other stuff, but oh well, you will never know because my audio is out. Anyway, let's continue on here.
Adults and in children. We are seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant. And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine. We are seeing.
So I'm just rewinding that part back because I just think that's so important. So I'm going to replay that one.
More viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children. We are seeing the same thing you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children. We are seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant. And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine that could actually make them more sick when they're exposed to the virus. In fact, this week, a paper came out, and what it showed is that with this Delta variant, when you're vaccinated, your body makes antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus. But they were supposed to neutralize the old variant. When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells.
Ooh, that's scary. That's kind of scary. Oh my gosh. I think it all goes back to understanding both sides. So just like there is a doctor here saying, hey, this is why you need to be cautious of the jab, there's plenty of doctors saying, hey, this is why you need to get the jab. But I think it's really important for us to be educated on both sides of the spectrum. Just like similarly, we have Republicans and Democrats. I really do think you should be educated on both ends of the spectrum and then also taking into account your personal situation. I just personally don't think it makes sense to say this is a situation that everyone just needs to do and just do it. Like, are we in America? Like, where do we live? So it's, again, I'm definitely on the side of freedom of choice in personal decisions in this scenario. Let me look at some comments here because I think Shar said something. Yes. So Shar is saying, I've questioned the free for the flu jab for 15 years ago. Okay. No copays either. There were copays for your annual checkup back then. Yeah. Let's be real. Who doesn't question when you're being offered something for free? Because here's the thing. We learn this in life in general. There really is nothing free. Our world is based on exchanges. So if someone's giving you something, there's probably something that they've already received in return or they expect in return at some point. It could just be, I'll just take a small example. Maybe I value someone's friendship and I'm giving them a gift. What did I get in return? Their friendship, their whatever. Someone smiles at me. I give them a flower. I don't know, but typically there's some type of exchange. So you raise an eyebrow when there's something that is deemed valuable as, looking at the biotech sphere. They make money. Biotech, which is the jab, that's biotech. They're making money. And to say that, hey, take this as free, it kind of makes you question, especially when you're looking at pharmaceuticals, because there were a lot of things, if again, we look at history, there were things that were healthy. Doctors said, you can take this, and then what happened? We found out you can get addicted to it and it can ruin your life. Oops. So again, I think people are just, look, it's okay to be cautious of things, especially when it comes to medicine, pharma, when you're putting something in your body. I don't know too many people, at least in my circle, that are a little cautious, again, on my example earlier, of just the food they're eating, of what they're putting on their skin. It's natural, and I think we should be cautious. Let me check out some comments here. Right. It's all experimental. That's what I question too, because if there's no real data, we don't really know what's happening. We don't know what's happening with the variants. How are you going to tell someone that you're not being tested on? I don't know. I always question that. Now, again, I'm on the side of give people the education, give them all of the information, not just a little bit. Because I'm sure folks that are in the field, they see all of the data. It's kind of like you see that advertisement and it's a farmer product and they're saying, oh, it'll change your life. It's going to do all these great things for you. And then at the end, you hear them say, it could cause, or it has this chance to cause 15 million things real quick. And in little tiny print, they show that. We told you in little tiny print, it could cause this. So don't come back to us 10 years later complaining. Look, and again, this is the environment that we live in, and people are surprised that people are skeptical and wanting to really understand what they're putting into their bodies. I don't get it. Okay, let's continue. I'm done ranting.
All right, that science was just published this week. We need to be looking at the science, and we need our policy to reflect the science, and we also need it to reflect our rights. Okay. And so, as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government.
Okay, I have to pause it right there because, what has also been portrayed is, oh, well, you haven't gotten a jab. You're just uneducated. We just need to get more education out there. Or you're stupid. you don't want to help other people. You don't want to, get back to normal, all these different things. But that's an interesting point that she makes there. That's impressive. And Dr. Boyce Watkins talked about that, that PhDs are the ones that are the most hesitant, which they should be. If they really understand the science, of course you're going to be hesitant. And then I think, it's interesting that they say uneducated, quote unquote, uneducated. So, not book smart. They didn't go to a university. Does that mean that you're uneducated? Well, there's a lot of things you learn in life. There's a lot of common sense things that you learn just living life. So I think it's interesting to make that kind of dynamic between the PhDs and those that are deemed uneducated because they don't have a degree, they don't have a high school diploma, whatever. But look, there's a lot of simple common sense things that people without degrees, they know, and and they're smart in different ways. They may not know about biology or molecular science, but they know when someone's giving something free, you might need to be a little skeptical. And they know other things that I think common sense, and we're in this world where you just can't think for yourself. You can't say anything that's against the mold. You need to say what everyone else is saying, which I think is very dangerous. I talk about this on the diversity conversations. Groupthink is very dangerous. You always need to have someone in a group that's like, wait a minute, did you think about this? Or this person wants to do that and everyone's just following along with it. Well, where's the person that says, wait a minute, this is a bad idea. Have we considered this? Yes, we need that. But we're in this world where you're just wrong if you have anything different to say, or you have a totally different thought process, you're wrong. And that's, again, it's just a dangerous world that we're living in, and you don't feel comfortable saying certain things. Now, of course, you're trying to say things that are harmful to humanity, and, but even just having a different thought perspective is what I'm seeing. People don't want to hear it. All right, let's continue.
And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD.
So I'm pausing it right now because, again, I said, and I started off with, we're not sensitive to the Black community on a lot of things, but definitely with this whole scenario. And here she is breaking down not one, but two instances. And I was not aware about the MMR situation with Black boys. That is really eye-opening. So they're just shredding, oh, this doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. No, just shut up and do what you're told is kind of what I'm hearing. And I am highlighting this comment by Playably. Show your papers reminds me of the 1940s Germany. Again, I think when there is a separation because of something, we already have enough natural separation that happens within groups, right? White, Black, Asian, Hispanic, men, women, young, old, LGBT, straight, we have enough. The political scene, the religion, we have enough. But now we're in a place where they're like, show us the card or else you can't get in here. You can't do this. You can't do that for something that, again, it does not stop anything. And there's some other interesting things that you can look up where people are talking about herd immunity and how that was kind of a dream. And there's scientists talking about, hey, that really, it really may not work. It really may not work. And here's why. So again, I think we need to listen to both ends of the table here. All right, let's continue.
D, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right, my ancestors did not work this hard. I come from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? All right, so I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States of America? Thank you.
So I love that she left off with that question, right? Because the question is this a form of discrimination, right? Because again, if this is very, it's similar to the flu. So there's no cure for the flu. You don't get something and now you never will get that ever again. What is so different about this? Yes, it's new. We're still trying to figure out what's the best solution. It's highly transmissible, yes. However, if the right people are getting what they need to protect themselves, why does everyone else that's willing to take precautions and say, hey, I'm healthy enough, I think I can, trust my own immune system, I'm going to wait it out, I want to get more information, whatever the case may be, what is the harm? And I think, too, another good thing to look at is the other countries, because there are other countries that have higher rates of people getting the jab, and they're going through with the Delta variant as well. We're all going through this. I have a friend in Australia, and she's like on her 6th or 7th shutdown over there. It's just... yeah, anyway, it's not just an American issue. We have people in France, we have people in the UK. They're also going through this. So I think that's the interesting part of it too. It is a global thing. Globally, it's like this push to get everyone on board. So my question is, why? What makes this so much different? So with that, I will leave you guys. I appreciate you watching and bearing with me through my random live chat, my kind of rant slash listening session. But I think this is very interesting. I'm going to also link the video that we were just watching. Let me pull that up in case you want to rewatch for yourself. So I'm gonna put this in the chat. And then I also want to add in here again the sources, because this is not just someone pulling random information, up and not noting her sources. She has noted a ton of things in this report. It is about, let me see, looks like this is maybe 7 pages long of just her sources. So this is for the Michigan bill. I'm going to put this in here as well. All right, so thank you again for watching. I'm going to leave the video up probably for a day, so probably until tomorrow, and then I'll leave this for my members. Appreciate my members, Edward and also King of Kill, who are in the chat tonight. If you're interested in membership, you can definitely click the join button. And if you're not already subscribed, definitely subscribe. I have a lot of different conversations that will be coming up soon. So looking forward to talking with you all more. Have a lovely night.